Darkness is all around us. It welcomes us. It invites us in. But through the darkness, light has come to expose it, to save us from darkness, so that we may see. Light is love. Light is truth. Light is life. Do you live in the light? Or do you dwell in the dark? Glow where the dark meets the light. This is Growth Group Unplugged.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Growth Group Unplugged edition, powered by the New Heights Church, Biloxi, Mississippi, powered by the New Heights Media Group. We're excited to see each and every one of you on tonight. We are a little bit behind schedule getting on tonight, and we have a few members of the council out on tonight, so you all continue to pray for us. But we have a great discussion, a great topic, a great session in store for each of you on tonight. So we hope, trust, and pray that you are well and that you are in the place and ready to chat with us even on tonight. Go ahead and send out that link to share with your friends and your family. We are primed and ready for a great discussion once again on tonight. Hope, trust, and pray that all is well with each of you. and that this greeting finds you in good care. Take a moment right now. Go ahead and tag us, title us, TikTok somebody. Let them know that we are live. That Unplugged is on deck. Share this feed. Share this feed. Come and let us know who you are. Check in. Tell us where you're tuning in from. On tonight, like I said, we have a few of our council members down on tonight, and so we just pray that they are alive. Well, get some off my camera here. Give me 1 second. All right. Um, we have a decent, well, not a decent, but we have an interesting discussion that we have dubbed for tonight. We started talking about this at the climax of last week's study, at the close of our study on last week. So we're going to talk about something that is really just taking over social media by storm for a few minutes on tonight. It's taking social media by storm. It's taking the news channels by storm. Um, and it's really a couple of things that we actually could talk about. But I'm gonna bring the council in, and we're gonna, say hello to everybody. And we're not gonna do the introductory remarks tonight. We're just gonna dive right in. Is that okay? Y'all put in the comments say dive in, dive in. We're gonna dive in on tonight. So I'm just gonna bring everybody in at one time, and everybody can say hello on tonight. Council, what's good? Y'all come on in. Y'all come on in. Let's get everybody
What's up, y'all?
in
Good
their
evening.
spots. Yeah. Yo, Taylor, what's good?
There we go. What's going on? What's going on?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Kiana, what's good?
Hey.
Hey. And we have Cheyenne on tonight, our special guest, the panelist on tonight. Tell us your name, where you're from. I told the people your name, but tell us where you're from. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cheyenne. I'm from LA. I moved to Atlanta about 9 months ago. And yeah,
Awesome. West Side? No? All right.
Never do that again.
Oh, wow. Yes, he did that.
Sonny P, my guy.
What's good?
What's good? Lonnie, tell the people what's up.
What's good, bro? What's good? How y'all doing, fam?
Fam, we in here. All right, man. Tonight we're gonna talk about for a little bit. What do you all feel? And we're gonna let the ladies take precedence on tonight, and just run with this thing. We have some things that we're gonna add to it, but we're gonna let them take the forefront on tonight because there's been a lot of debate and debauchery, if you will, over the past, I guess, several weeks, dealing with this Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decision that we are awaiting. And as children of God, as the body of Christ, members in particular, I think that there are some things that we should be careful about and we should be wise with um, when we begin to kind of intertwine ourselves with these types of debates and discussions. Because, of course, we know how God feels about life, and God is the giver and sustainer of life. So, I want to dive into this on tonight. What is our perspective from a biblical stance versus a society stance? How should we navigate when it comes to this? Is this something that the church should even speak about? Is this something that the church should just allow to go forth, and we continue to share love, show forth the love of Christ? Is this something that um, we should embrace, knowing that this is a part of our culture? As far as the topic of abortion, rather, where do we go as the church? What is our responsibility? What should we say? Should we stay away from this? Should we speak on it? Should we just, where do we go? What is our obligation, our responsibility from a biblical standpoint, as people of God? Also, man, there's just so much going on, and I really feel like we could even talk so much about how women are respected. When we look at the passing of Kevin Samuel, it's just been so much going on this week, dealing and surrounding about the respect that especially our queens, our black women have, even in this country. So we're gonna try to flush some of this out. But for those of you who are not really abreast to what this is, and because you know y'all skip class those days that it was talked about in school. In 1971, there was a lady by the name of Norma McCorvey who filed a lawsuit against the Texas Attorney General by the name of Henry Wade because she argued that Texas law banning abortion, which hadn't been imposed upon her, violated her constitutional right. And the Texas law only allowed abortions if necessary to save a woman's life. And so the Supreme Court ruled on that case on January 22nd, 1973, and they weighed it as a woman's choice to have an abortion outweighs the state's concern for prenatal life up until the point of viability. That means that a woman had the right to choose whether to terminate her pregnancy or to carry it to full term. All right. So that's what the Roe versus Wade ruling and case law represents. And so what does the church say? And how do we move forward as the people of God in a culture and a society that is on opposite ends dealing with the woman's right to choose? Y'all dig in.
Who wants it first, Key?
Y'all
What
dig in.
can the church say? What do you mean? What does the church say? What can the church say?
Should we say anything? Should
No.
because first of all, think about what I mean when I say the church. We are the church, right? I'm talking about the people of God. What position should we take? What stance should we take when it comes to abortion? When it comes to constitutional rights? When it comes to a woman's right to choose? We are the church. I'm not talking about a building or an organization. I'm talking about
as the people of God.
As the people.
I understand that. And as the people of God, you mind your godly business. Like what does you do?
That's all. We can go home.
What?
And let the church say,
Let the church say, amen. That was the benediction.
We are the church now. Unplugged is the church. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put myself in the line of fire. I done busted open. Mm-hmm. I'm going to the chop shop. What do y'all got to say about that? How is that?
Why is that any of your business?
Are you all right? Do you need a ride? Do you need somebody to sit with you? You need me to hold your hand? You need some juice.
Hold on.
Need some juice?
Not some juice.
Hey, y'all are so familiar and entitled to a lot of things that y'all, like I said, that ain't y'all business. Like if I'm explain that to me as somebody that's in the church, because I'm in the church and I'm trying. What does that even have to do with you?
The job for y'all is to protect us as women, right?
Okay.
So
when you say y'all, who are you talking about?
The church. The church. The church is set to protect.
Okay.
Right? And support. So my choice to do what I must with my body, all, if any, if I ask for it at all, just needs support. That's it. That's all. I'm not asking. I don't need an opinion. Nope.
What?
Because how dare you tell me about what I can do with my body?
I don't know. I have no regard to what you must, and I'm not no man. And let's stop saying church. Let's say what we're talking about. Woman or man, who has the right over the woman's body? And I agree, woman has the right over their body, and they have the decisions to make. It's a choice as a human being. However, it is not to dismiss what that said before. There's a difference between must and will, right? Mm. We have the right to do whatever we want to do, but our will may not be what we should do sometimes. Now, as far as the Supreme Court court decision. I don't look at this at surface level because I understand the numbers behind abortions anyway. And this isn't a case for women against the world. It's a case for a certain group of women against the world. It's a case for a certain sector of people, if you will.
In the
because
world.
some
Correct.
people are getting more abortions than others.
Absolutely.
So whenever we make it something that's completely general, then we start to have all those rifts say, well, I feel this way and I feel this way. And that's not even what this is about half the time. I can be more direct on that because if you be real, this isn't even our community's issue. Because honestly,
overturning it will make it our community's issue.
Okay. No, it won't.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna tell you what. As a collective of human beings, sure, everybody's gonna be affected, right? But who's being the most affected by it? Who's being the most affected by it right now?
No,
it's not us.
Will be.
Black women.
When you look at the numbers,
have you looked at the numbers?
Not black women, poor
so
women.
The overturn of Roe v. Wade is not going to stop abortion. It's just going to make safe and legal abortion more difficult for women to get. Who already has the least amount of health care? People of color. Who already goes to the doctor the least? People of color. So taking abortion away from women, especially Black women who live in high population areas like Georgia, right? They completely red on the abortion front.
Tennessee already put a ban on all Plan Bs.
Tennessee is next door. So it's not going to stop rich white women from getting the abortions that they want and or need. It's going to stop women who don't have health care insurance, who don't have the ability to drive or fly to another state to go to a health care physician to get an abortion. It's going to stop women who got pregnant too young, who got pregnant too old and don't have the correct health care. It's not going to stop people with money. It's going to stop people with the inability to go out and get one for free. And so it's going to affect our community the most because historically we are the top ones that die. The mortality rate of women of color, of Black women, is the highest. So therefore, people say that we get the most abortions, but we don't. White women do.
No.
So,
exactly.
So the issue with that is not going to be whether or not if it affects our community the most. It most definitely will. The world is already not built for Black people. The United States is not built for Black people.
You're about to make a point of mine.
Come through, Sid. Come through.
Come on.
So to put more restrictions on our rights that only govern my body, Taylor's body. What's your name, sis? I cannot see.
Kiana.
That only govern Kiana's body. It does. Abortions have literally nothing to do with men. It is going to push us back even farther.
What do abortions got to do with y'all?
Because nothing.
Because I really want to know.
My legacy, my seed. The abortion isn't just a alt delete for the woman and her body. It's an alt delete for the potential of me to also have a child. Now, I'm also saying this. You made a great point that the laws, regulations, and rulings weren't made with us in mind, and the changing of those aren't made with us in mind. We are having more children than any other regiment. So the advent of that is to actually save them from becoming completely obsolete. That's the move. That's the grand move. Everything else is just not. It's not secondary. It's secondary, right? They don't have you, Kiana, Taylor in mind. So, like I said, it's not necessarily our culture's move or decision. Really, yes, it will be affected. Like everything, crap rolls downhill all the time. And who's the bottom of the barrel, technically, in this country?
Lower class. I won't even say black. I won't even say Black people. I'll say lower class. It's
lower class. Absolutely. Yeah. You can say middle class too, because they are almost the same exact thing.
Yeah, they're almost low class.
Right. So I like I said, definitely agree that the social right aspect of it is troubling, right? It's troubling that now once again women have another form of suffrage to have to deal with in the grand scheme of things. However, a lot of that stuff, if we be real, men and women, if we be real, if we make better decisions, We don't have to even force.
Thank
We
you.
don't even
That's
have to. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Men and
That's
women.
where I was gonna go.
Men and women. Men and women. I'm not here to abolish anybody from the from being a part of that, because like I said, abortion does absolutely. Prime example, my son, the mother of the child thought about it. Had she not, the fact that she had not money, he's here. Now, I would not be a father today. Had she. It affects me as much as it affects the one. It affects your body, it affects your mental, all that. It affects my seat, my ability to continue to
it affected
add
you
life.
because you chose to be there. You are
Exactly.
choosing.
No. Hold on. So
And that's a great thing on you. You are choosing to continue to be there for your son. Absolutely. But not every man is going to choose to be there.
But it goes back to the first decision, right? This is the second decision or third decision. It goes back to that first decision. I know there are some anomalies. There are some situations that cannot be controlled, such as rape, such as things like that, right?
Coercion, things.
Coercion,
Right.
which is really another form of rape, if you will, right?
Right.
That's a whole different ballgame. But you chose to lay down with that nigga who was already suspect, and I'm gonna just say it like that. You made a drunk decision or a conscious decision to lay down.
She can't consent.
Say again?
I said if she was drunk, she can't consent.
Well, I'm not talking about to the point that she was not like conscious or whatever. I'm talking about a lot of times, when you get on that sauce, you'll make some decisions that you really wouldn't have made if you were completely sober, right?
Big facts.
So what I'm saying is, with that first decision should not be necessarily bailed out because this is legal, when in fact you made the decision off of a temporary feeling that's now going to affect the rest of your future.
But why does that fall on the woman? Why wasn't the first decision to be made whether or not homeboy is going to strap up or not?
Because we talked about this last week.
Sonny from last week, all the men do is just stand out there and it's and stuff.
It's false.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
It just. Oh no!
That's not what Sonny said. That's not what Sonny said at all.
Yeah. What we said last week is that I don't care who you are as a man. You can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm feeling rather good today. I think I want to find me somebody to intertwine with tonight. That does not necessarily mean he's going to. But a woman, on the other hand, let's throw standards out the window. Let's just say that she just says, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm feeling a little frisky. I want to find me somebody to intertwine with today. She's going to get it.
That's
regardless.
True.
That is true. It's true based on now. It might not be true because you have standards.
It's true.
But if you decided we just looking at the point of the narrative. If you say throw all standards out the window, if you say you wanted to do something versus a man saying he wanted to do something, there is always a man willing to give, but there's not always a woman willing to receive.
So what does that? So
that first decision that we're talking about is really up to the woman, because a man really doesn't have a choice when it comes to that. I'm gonna tell you. Let me help you like this. Men have the power over marriage. Women have the power over sex.
Boom.
Period.
Okay.
Period. We control marriage.
That's really
y'all control sex.
Okay.
So that first decision.
Same vein, why do women not control whether or not abortion is right or wrong for them? Because men can choose at any point. Say I chose I want penis. Cool, that was my choice. You chose not to strap up. Cool, that was your choice. Now there's the possibility of
what about the accountability though? What about accountability that if you're saying in that moment, no, you're not doing this unless you do this.
Oh, so it's on the woman again.
It takes two to tango. I'm not saying that you are not. You can't throw the accountability on the man that he didn't strap up when, again, you all control sex. You could say,
then
you know
you
what?
throw the
I wanna
accountability
do
of
this.
being a parent back on women if women cannot choose not to be parents at some point.
But we got to understand. Okay, if I go out, if I go out and I get into an altercation and I pull out a gun and I pull that trigger, I know that there's going to be consequences that are going to come from that action, regardless. No matter how I felt in the heat of passion or in the heat of the moment, once I pull that trigger, I cannot get that round back. There's something that's going to happen. There's something that's going to happen. Either I'm going to go to jail for discharging a firearm. I'm going to go to jail for possibly killing somebody that even if I felt in fear of my life, I still got to go through all this other stuff. And God forbid you hit somebody who is innocent. You're going to go to prison. Every action has a reaction, and we have consequences for making poor decisions. Now, I'm talking about the accountability on both parts, because it takes two to tango. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that the man isn't wrong and that he should have been more responsible, but truth be told, women mature faster than men.
Oh, we're not about to play
maturity rate and babies.
Listen.
We're not about to play that card.
Let's look at it. Let's look at
we're
the
not
facts.
about to play that card.
Let's look at the facts. Y'all say it all the time. Y'all say it more than we say it. Because I wish he would grow up, or You know, he likes to go play video games all day. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do. He do what he's supposed to do. He doesn't take care of responsibilities around the house. But you've been living with this dude for so long, knowing that he ain't no good, but then you still lay up and have babies. Not saying. Now, this is where I say this is where the church is supposed to come in at, because there's supposed to be some mothers in the church that say, "Come here, baby. Let me show you a better way to do this. Come here, baby." Instead of judging her for her poor decisions, somebody ought to be teaching her. Somebody ought to be spending time with her. Him? Say what? The men ought to be doing the same thing. The men ought to be grabbing him by the throat and saying, "Listen, boy, come here and sit down, because if you're not ready to take care of your responsibilities, you don't need to be playing in the kitchen."
But see, that's the problem. More people are snatching up women than they are men. Why are the girls having all the dress?
Where are our men at?
Oh, don't wear strap. Don't wear spaghetti strap. Because what?
Where are our men at?
They at the Kevin Samuels funeral.
But not this one. Sorry.
No, they
look
not.
okay. Because why are there more stipulations on women's dress codes than there are on men?
They're locked
There
up.
is no law ever in the Constitution or wherever that has anything to do with the man's body. Why are men on birth control? Why is there no regulation for if you are underage having sex? If you are, it's illegal, but neither here nor there. Why are we not allowing minors to purchase condoms, knowing that they're still having sex anyway?
Why isn't sex correctly taught in school?
Correctly taught in any school, Christian and public.
Well, now,
because all I was taught was if I had sex, I'm automatically catching syphilis and gonorrhea. Not if I have sex, here are the real repercussions.
Thank you, Alon.
Education.
Thank you.
Wait, what'd she say?
Put that back up. We can control sex, we can't control our bodies. Like, really?
Make it make sense.
Controlling sex is controlling your body.
No,
it ain't. Because this whole abortion talk is y'all trying to control the bodies.
No. Let me say this.
I wanted to say something about the sex ed.
Let me go on record and say this. I do not believe that the federal government regulating anything when it comes to how we live in our lives should be based upon the government. It should not be based upon the system. I believe that people are free moral agents and should be able to make decisions. If it ain't killing nobody, and I know some people sit on the separate sides of this and say, you know what, abortion is killing. Well, if we can say that abortion is killing, contraceptives is killing too, right? Exactly. Because you're disturbing the natural process. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You call a spade, right? I say if we gonna be consistent, all right, contraceptives, and that's why, my friend, that some of these states are going to the measures that they are to ban contraceptives, because they know they got to be consistent, right? But this is what I say. I believe that as we are free moral agents under God's universal law, that the government has no place in this. But there are some things that God requires that we as the people of God got to start upholding. And that's why I say, okay, where does the church stand on this? Because as the church, we have some laws that supersede, that trump the laws of the land, that we have to govern ourselves accordingly. And truth be told, our bodies aren't our own bodies. As a Christian, I gave my body up because Christ gave his body up for me. Let's just call it precept, line upon line, precept upon precept. We're thinking as the church, we're still thinking secular, understanding because we live in a secular culture. But as the body of Christ, as a peculiar people, we're supposed to be strange. We're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be like the rest of the culture. When you read the book of Corinthians, that's one of the biggest arguments that Paul was having, is because the Macedonians, the people of Corinth, they were some nasty folk. They was having incest. They was having babies by it. It was a full out orgy.
Is that?
So nothing is new under the sun, right? If we really look at it from a contextual standpoint, which we ought to be as members of the body of Christ. Now, let me say this: I'm gonna be the first one to say that we don't always make the right decisions as Christians, okay? But what I am saying is that we got to understand that at the end of the day, our bodies are not our own. Our bodies are the temple of God, and God is the giver of life. And we got passages of scriptures all throughout the Bible that will say that. God says, he told Jeremiah, I knew you before I formed you in the womb. So if I knew you before I formed you in the womb, and I know the argument is about the women's right to choose, and I agree with that. I believe that a woman should have the right to choose what she's going to do, just because men have the right to choose what they're going to do. Let's keep it fair. If a man has the right to choose, I believe a woman should have the right to choose. That's where I go on record at. But then when we choose, let's talk about the will of God now. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. I was told that I couldn't have kids. I had a real bad motorcycle accident in 2006, and just know they call them crotch sprockets for a reason. I was not supposed to be able to have children. And in 2012, six years after my accident, Kaden said, surprise, hey, daddy, I'm here. Right? So if his surrogate, if you will, had decided that she wanted to terminate that, knowing that I was already against the odds of being able to have children, I would not be a father today. So it may affect, and I wholeheartedly understand, because I know so many people who've gone through that process, and it's traumatic for your body and it's traumatic for your mind. Psychologically, you deal with depression. You deal with the same postpartum that you do if you have the baby, right? You deal with all of those things. Then you deal with the guilt. You deal with the judgment of people who don't agree with you. But then on the other side, you have a man who was willing to be a man, and now he's suffering, wondering what could have been. Right? So he may not deal with it physically, and I'm not trying to downplay what happens to the woman. Not saying that, but to just completely dismiss the mentality and the psychological of the man is irresponsible at best. Because there are some men who are men. Now, I'm not talking about these little boys running around here sticking they thing in the electrical socket, whatever they can stick it in, they stick it in. I'm talking about those men who actually are conscious enough to say, you know what, I made that, I'm gonna handle that.
Bro, but there are too few and far between.
I agree.
Too few and far between.
And that's where the older men need to step up and be like, and I'm just saying, not even in the church. I'm talking about in the community, because in the church, you got men who so used to being hush mouth that they won't stand up for nothing. I'm talking about our Kevin Samuels. Dude, how about you get off the air talking about our women and start holding our brothers accountable? We need somebody to go viral for that, but ain't nobody gonna watch that.
Yep.
Because we want to see some mess. We want to see something controversial. It's ghetto here, bro.
And that will piss me off. And I'm just gonna be honest, I guess, on the part of me not being able to be a father, and I really, yeah, now that I'm gonna be honest, that would definitely be a piss off for me, for real.
Okay, so I'm not gonna have the abortion. I'm gonna carry the baby to term, and I'm gonna have the baby sign over my rights, and you have your child. Is that an option?
But not every woman. Here's the thing, though.
What?
Not every woman can carry a baby full to term healthily.
Correct.
Right?
And I respect that.
Safely. And so this law is not just covering the oops of it all. It's covering I'm trying to survive. Now, this beautiful thing that could come to fruition, sure. But my health, if my health is on the line, I'm sorry, I'm choosing me. I'm choosing me.
And even if it,
you're not here. You're not here. You're not.
Or even mothers who have children get pregnant later, their surprise baby. And now you are 43 and it's at 41, it's a geriatric pregnancy. At 41 years old, a woman being pregnant is a geriatric pregnancy.
Geriatric.
Let's talk about it.
Literally die.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I ain't telling you what I read in the book. I'm telling you what I know. Let me tell you something. My middle nephew will be 16 in 2 weeks. That pregnancy, my sister was diagnosed with lupus at 30 years old.
Yep.
That pregnancy was rough on her. I had to come from Florida 3 times, 2 or 3 times, to give her a blood transfusion. Right? I think she was maybe 30, 31, 30, 31, 32, something like that when she had him. Maybe 29, somewhere along in there. Right? Yeah, she had to be like maybe 28, 29, right? Because I was still in the military. Right? So that was high risk. She had lupus. Mm-hmm. My sister, I have a 2-year-old nephew. She just had a baby at 41. And the pregnancy went off without a hitch. Amen. Right? So I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
You're right.
I'm saying that when God blesses the womb, we got to understand that when God blesses the womb, especially when it comes from a union, we got to trust God.
Then let it be from the union. There are too many non-union pregnancies.
I agree with that. I agree with that. So how do we prevent that part? Because look what Trinity said. You have control at every stage. Mate, accepted, sex, abortion. You can't be selective with your accountability. And that's all I'm saying. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck from start to finish.
She's saying men and women, no.
Yeah. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. We're not saying that you all are wrong. We're just saying that. Go ahead.
I never opposed the accountability part, like what you were saying earlier. Okay, I take full accountability for busting it open. I take full accountability for that. For doing that with a man.
You heard what she said. Oh,
I made that choice. I consciously made that choice to do it. So why can I not consciously make a choice to terminate that choice?
You can.
You can.
Well, for right now.
On today.
That's what I'm saying. The accountability part. Okay.
Still be able
Even if we are accepting the accountability, like our choices are still being taken away. Like, yes, I fully accept the fact that yes, it was me. Yes.
It wasn't just you though. It was both of you.
I mean, okay, but both of us ain't
be there, but not both parties are not always there. That's it. The accountability is I'm the one holding the seed. I'm the one who has to go through the labor pains. I'm the one who has to carry this thing for a whole 9 months, if anything, right? The least you have to do is sit there and support. That's it. Come on, it's not fair.
You think that's easy?
I'm not.
We're not discrediting anything that the woman goes through. That's not the premise on tonight. That's not even the argument. The argument is this, first of all, should this be regulated by the government? No. Should this be acceptable should a Christian be okay with this, with this concept, with being able to say, okay, this is my right to choose. Okay, it's right to choose. Okay, how does God feel about it too? That's what we're talking about. I'm not saying that you all don't go through a lot, because I can't even imagine like my organs and stuff being shifted around and having. I can't even imagine. Like, kudos to y'all. Kick Eve in the butt when y'all see her. Listen, like y'all take her down through that, because she owned that one, right? Give her exactly what she set y'all up for failure.
Quick, wait, just this go like this the record. I want to go beside it for a second. Y'all really think Eve in heaven? Like, let's be real. Like, y'all really think she there?
She brought that. She has.
She committed the first sin. Did she?
Is she
does the Bible say that she asked?
All I'm saying is that if Eve made it, I know I'm gonna be straight.
And that old testament different.
Yeah.
Wait, did the Bible say that did she ask for forgiveness? Did she?
Hey, look,
Did she even know?
that Old Testament cutthroat. I don't, you know.
Listen, we were under different law. They were under different law back then. They were under different law. We talking about law.
If she in that,
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't convinced this made it. I'm not convinced.
Well, look, somebody gonna be able to ask her wherever they go. Because
not I'm going yonder.
A lot of people gonna be able to ask her if she not there. Somebody else gonna be able to ask you. Heard me? Like, so, I just think it's that was funny, by the way.
Do what I can.
That was genius. I think that we really have to be honest and consistent. There was somewhere I was gonna go with that before you said that. You completely threw me off with the she gonna be there. Go ahead, Kiana, because I'm probably gonna think of it in a second. Jump in.
Okay, since you brought it back to the church, I guess we on. I'm finna jump on a whole nother topic. Since you brought it back to the church, like, okay, what does the church think in place of abortion and bringing new life in here, or whatever?
Well, I think we got to ask, what does God think?
Well, yeah, that was what you said. Okay, so
what does God think?
Two things.
Yeah.
First thing is us talking about what God thinks about abortion, like that's starting in the middle. Like let's start at what God is thinking about us down here having sex, first of all.
Agreed.
That's the first thing. And then the second thing with two different topics. I understand how some people may feel like kids and children are gifts, but everybody don't feel that way.
So don't.
So, and I am a living witness of being a child that mama and daddy both didn't want them.
I understand.
So so this is a gift to the church, but to this person, this is a curse. It's a lot of good parents out there that are miserable people. So so because God gave you this thing that has a bow on it, it's a gift. And God, with the analogy of the man drowning, the God sending boats and rafts and all that stuff. Me personally, because how I feel about kids, I wouldn't see a child as a blessing, and I would try to get on the abortion raft if God sent it by. I said a lot, but you can start with either point.
That made me chuckle, but I agree.
You can start with either point. You can start with the point of is kids out here that are not wanted, and the psychological all that do to them, or you can start on the point where Christians talking about abortion. That's later on. Let Christians talk about having sex first. You can pick either point.
Like we don't talk about sex enough as the church.
We don't. We just
talk about it as this thing.
It's a taboo thing
on the low. That's only for when you get married. But in reality, if only people whose parents were married when they had them can go to church, churches wouldn't be as full as they are. So it feels like you got people who are making decisions, but they never had making decisions for a woman's body, and then women being ostracized for the decisions that they have or haven't made. But no, at no point was a woman or a man ever taught that they could have a conversation about what happens next.
And that's a big problem. And I believe that you know, we all make bad decisions. Everybody, we all do, right? So you shouldn't be ostracized by the decision that you make. You should be reeled in closer, right? That is an opportunity to be loved on. There's an opportunity to be nurtured because somewhere along the line, somebody failed you. Somebody, right? Whether it was a parent, whether it was the dude that you laid down with, whether it was your friends, somebody failed you along the way. And so it's up to the next party that encounters you to love you the right way. Whether it's the next man or whether it's the next fellas, it's the next lady down the line, whether it's your rekindling a relationship with your parents, your grandparents, your aunties, your cousins, your teachers, your mentors, whatever the case may be, whoever failed you needs to make up for that, or we have to be available mentally and emotionally to allow the next opportunity that God places in our lives to be that change of experience. That man, I had given up on this, but this changed my life. And that's why I've always said that the New Heights ministry is going to be that ministry where people say, man, I had gave up on church, I had gave up on God, but guess what? I came in contact with this ministry and they blew my mind because they were actually trying to live it, the love that Christ shown, knowing that none of us are perfect, that we all should be in hell right now, right? But we all trying to get to the same place, and this is a place of love. The second point I was going to make a few minutes ago, it came back to me when you were talking. I'm saying what we're talking about is, does the government have the right? Does the government have the right to put this regulation on? Yeah, they got every right, because guess what? They the government. They got the right to tell us to do whatever they want to tell us to do, right? Because they're the government, and we vote for these people that don't care nothing about us. All right. Back when we had the same Kanye, he tried to warn us that they didn't care about us, right?
Michael
But then
Jackson said it first.
Say again.
Michael Jackson said it first.
Yeah, my MJ did say it first, right? But let me ask you this: we talk about affordability. Talk about affordability, because I'm old enough to remember a time when you couldn't do that in Mississippi. You couldn't get abortions in Mississippi. When I was coming up in college, first freshman year of college, back in the early 2000s, I know people who used to drive to Tuscaloosa.
Where?
Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Alabama.
It's about 3 hours from Atlanta. Get on 20. All right. They used to drive to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to take care of that. Okay. What I'm saying is, how many states is marijuana legal in the United States?
Not enough.
And everybody high.
Everybody.
If people are going to do what they need to do, they're going to find a way to do what they need to do. My thing is, give people a right to choose. But if you don't, because you don't give us a right to choose to do anything, right? This is the country that we live in. But if truth be told, people are going to do what they want to do. Period. That's just the point. That's the truth of the matter. People going to still get abortions. People they're going to do it.
Yeah, they ain't stopping them.
People gonna die.
It won't be as safe, man. And so that's where we got to say, okay, when they go high, when they go low, we go high. Listen, young lady, come here, let me talk to you. Come here, young buck. Come here, let me holler at you. Listen, they making this hard out here for us. So before you go do this, let me tell you about the consequences. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to say don't do it, because I know you're going to do it. But I'm going to tell you this. When you do it, man, make sure you handle your business. Make sure you do this, and this, right? This is where we got to start being the church, man. Because when Jesus encountered the woman at the well, he already knew she was a thought. I mean, she had a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He already knew that she had 5 husbands. He knew this. But he said he didn't say, you know what, you can't come over here and talk to me because you run around here with all these men. He didn't tell her that. He said, give me some water. What does that tell me? Oh God, thank you, Holy Spirit. That tells me I don't care how bad of a situation that you are in, how bad of a situation you in, or how sinful you may be, there's still something I can gain from you.
Yeah.
There's still something that you can bless me with. And when you bless me, I'll make sure I'm gonna bless you. That's what Jesus did to the woman at the well. All I'm saying is these are opportunities for us. We know how God feels about abortion. Let's be honest. We don't even have to go to the scriptures. We know how God feels about life. We can go with Psalms 127. Children are heritage from the Lord, offsprings a reward from him. Like this is where God views. He told Eve, the one that y'all don't think gonna make it, that to be free.
It was just a question.
It was just a question.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. But he gave his blessing to be fruitful and multiply. He said, "Be fruitful and multiply." He basically said, "Y'all go out there and y'all do this. Y'all can have as many babies as y'all want."
He also put the pair together.
Exactly.
So
he put it in
that was the first step. If we're talking about the first step, the union has to happen first. And if there's no union, then God's not going to bless anything that comes from that.
It's a lot of things that happen before that. Let me help you. Let me help the young ladies out real quick. What's the first thing that God did with Adam? Before he gave Adam his wife, what did he do with Adam?
Gave him a job.
He gave him a job. Absolutely.
Bingo.
Absolutely. What else did he give him?
Agreed.
Say again.
Somebody else. What'd you say?
What else did God give him? Before he gave Adam Eve, what did God give Job? I mean, Adam.
He said he didn't want to be alone. He said he didn't want to be alone. He said it wasn't good he'd be alone.
Check this
out.
Gave
him land. He gave him life. He gave him land. He gave him a job. He gave him companionship in other ways, not companionship for himself, but he gave him the trees, the grass, over the bugs of the field. He gave him dominion over the area he was at.
Absolutely.
And then
let me simplify a little bit. Thank you, Sonny.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Shy. Mm-hmm. First thing that God did with Adam is he gave him a word. Before he was blessed with that companion, God gave him a word. He had established a relationship with God. Mm. The second thing God did, he placed him in the garden. He gave Adam a home. The third thing he did, he told him, listen, I want you to dress and keep the garden. He gave him dominion over everything. He gave Adam a job. He gave him a word. He gave him a home. He gave him a job. Then he blessed him with his companion. If that nigga ain't got no word from God, no job, and no home, stop fooling with him. Because he gonna make your life a living hell.
I dare say that men who don't have a word from God, a home, or a job should stop fooling with women.
Facts.
Stop letting them.
Facts. It goes both ways.
Unfortunately.
Cut them off.
It goes some self-responsibility and some accountability from everybody around, from all parties involved.
Okay.
So we all got the same people.
But unfortunately, Cheyenne, to what your point was, I mean, what you think Satan did? Satan, when Satan up in, he gonna continue to trying to get his dominion that he don't have.
And that's a good point, Lonnie. Because like we said last week, that's all he does is destroy the natural order in what God has placed. Mm-hmm. That's what he attacked in the garden. He attacked the order. Because God had a relationship with Adam. Eve was supposed to have a relationship with her husband, and a byproduct of her relationship with her husband was supposed to be a relationship with God. Right? Because God gave the man dominion. He never had a conversation with Eve based on the text. We never see where God had a conversation with Eve. So, Lonnie, you spot on with that, bro.
Yeah, I had to hear that one. I had to catch that.
Yeah, the enemy comes to destroy the order. So, what's the order he's destroying with our communities? He ain't got no job. Oh, that's cool. He fine though. Right. He ain't got no job. He ain't got no job, but he still got money. Oh, because he in the streets. Yeah. So guess what? He may even show up to want to be in that baby life, but it's only short lived. It got an expiration date on it. He either gonna be in the grave or in prison. Right. It comes down to these decisions, and let me get on you, senior saints. Let me get on you, senior saints. Let me get on y'all hypocritical senior saints. Ooh, because y'all forget that y'all was busting it down too.
Oh yeah, tell them like Kiki just said, he busted open, digging it.
Cause listen.
Next.
Back when y'all was between the sheets listening to Marvin Gaye and all that stuff like that, and some Barry White. Listen, don't act like y'all ain't do it.
They were getting some
Papa was a
TKO now.
Rolling
They were
Stone,
getting
man.
that. They were getting that little TKO now. They were getting that Teddy P.
Come on,
Teddy
turn
P.
off the lights.
On Confunction Love Train. They what I'm saying. They was up there.
Come on.
Yeah, they was all up there.
Don't act
Them
like
Brick House
Paul
Stallion.
said it like this. Paul said it like this in his letter to the Corinthian church, and such were some of you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that we were once there, or that you were once there. You didn't go through it and get through it.
Come through. Come on,
you
preacher.
didn't go through it and get through it to say you graduated.
Right. Come through.
Taylor, come here, Taylor. You didn't just get your master's degree just to put the certificate on the wall.
Oh, absolutely not. What?
You got that degree so that you can go help somebody else out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Can I tell the saints on tonight? Because what does the church have to say about it? This is what the church have to say about it. You didn't go through it and get through it so there could be a certificate on your wall and you could sit back with your arms folded and just say, these youngsters these days ought to be ashamed of this. No, God allowed you to get through it with some wisdom so you could help them not go through it.
Right. That part. Yeah.
But what, I don't want to say what if, because I know that this is the case for some people in my life and y'all's life that saw how our parents or even their parents struggled a lot in being in the church.
Yeah. My hearting people
went on to say, you know what? At no point do I want to be a parent, and yet they get pregnant. I think that we all find different truths in the world, and we try to figure out how both to be ourselves, how both to have relationships with people, how both to have relationships with God, but still find ourselves living these hard truths. And sometimes the hard truth is my mama wasn't the best. Yeah. My daddy wasn't the best.
Yeah.
Grandma wasn't the best. I don't know if I want to be a parent. Like, what if there's no hardship, no, I hate myself, no, I don't love the Lord, no, I don't know what I want, I don't know where I'm going. What if there's just the fact, and the fact is, I don't want to be a parent. And what if the fact is that God didn't make that person to be a parent?
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Let me say this. It's funny because even with that situation, there's an option and an action that can happen. Absolutely. You don't want to have a parent. You don't want to be a parent, but you may still have to go through the process because there's somebody who wants to be a parent and cannot, and who's waiting on someone like you to give them the opportunity for their dream and their blessing. There's always an out. See, that's a great thing about it in the aspect of life. If you didn't die, there's always an out. There's always somewhere else that this seed can land. Right.
Even you said if.
And right. I'm gonna say, but what you're saying, Sonny, is
Black children are number one less likely to be adopted, especially in the United States. Our kids make up 93% of foster homes and foster care.
Agreed.
That doesn't make sense.
That's an actual statistic too.
That's actual statistic.
Very good. True. But this
because we're not the ones getting abortions.
Let me tell you. Anybody watch All American?
Mm-hmm.
Or y'all watch All American?
I seen it.
One of my favorite things about that show was that when what's her face got pregnant,
Simone,
when Simone got pregnant, and she was weighing the option, right? And she made a decision because of all the pressure that she was under from her parents, from her boyfriend, from everybody. She made a decision that I'm going to carry this child and I'm going to put it up for adoption, right? I will say this. A lot of the statistics are true. Our black children aren't being adopted as quickly as other races. But let me tell you something. There are a lot of black families and a lot of white families that do adopt, and they will adopt our children. The problem is that there's not enough support for parents who adopt children.
The problem is the system, the adoption
That's
system.
what I'm talking about. The system. That's what I'm talking about. The system is not. I'm gonna tell you, the system.
They discouraged me in Florida. I ain't gonna lie.
The system is not designed for our children to come out of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ever.
They want to keep our children in the system, right? That's still a choice, though, right? There's still a choice that, listen, if it's not a risk to your health, and the problem is that I'm gonna play devil's advocate, Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
A woman's body goes through so much in them 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So once a woman carries that child for 9 months, that child is with her forever. Period.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if she puts it up for adoption, no matter if she has an abortion, no matter if she has a miscarriage, no matter what, that child is with her forever. You know why it's with her forever? Because God gave that life. It's not designed for you to separate from that child. That's not how God made that thing. Because if he touched your womb, man, we read all throughout the Bible. We talk about these powerful women in the Bible. All these women who couldn't conceive, their womb was barren, and God touched their womb. That shows us that whenever a child is born, a child is conceived, man, God personally touched the womb. He prepared that womb to give birth. Who are we to say no?
And listen, that's so true. All right, that's so true. I just gotta give a testimony about my mama. You know, she has 8 kids. Before she had 8 kids, she has 8 kids.
Bless your heart.
Before she had 8 kids, she had 4 miscarriages, and 1 was a set of twins. And the doctor told her she'd never have children.
Mercy.
And she cried and cried. She died on the table, was resuscitated.
Mercy.
Went through all those pains. Thought she'd never. Went to a revival. Man of God pointed her out, said, God was touching your womb. My older sister, Athena, was born a year later. A couple months after that, told her the same thing. Here I come. 6 more times.
Mercy.
My mama could never naturally conceive. Never. That was all God. I'm here because of a miracle. Right?
And a choice. Your mama wanted y'all.
Absolutely.
And
She prayed for them.
She prayed for
see,
Absolutely.
okay, that was a beautiful story. Let me give the unbeautiful story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my mama, I'm the middle. It's 3 of us. My mama and daddy. My mama has been on drugs since she was in the military in the 70s. Mama had abortions. Mama had my sister, drugs in my sister's system. My mama didn't even wait until the stitches healed. My mama just left my sister in the hospital. She just left. Granny ended up with sister. Again, mama got pregnant again. Mama had abortions again. Then I came up. Mama had me, which she said was a mistake. Okay, we all were mistakes. I was born with drugs in my system. Less than a year later, little brother was born. He was born with drugs in his system. We were born in Virginia, 2 and 3. I was taking care of my little brother. It was 3 days before CPS came and got us to put us up for adoption. And 2 of our uncles came and got us because mama and daddy, they shouldn't have been parents. And I have had that conversation with my mama. Like, my mama always said, like, I never knew how to be a mother. I thought when I had y'all, the mother switch would just switch on, and it never did.
Wow.
So, Sonny's story is beautiful, but it's more stories like mine than it is like Sonny's. And me and my sister have a very sick abortion joke about what our mama should have did to us instead of having us. Because all us, me, my brother, my sister, all us born with drugs in our system. None of us were raised by our parents. Like, okay, what if mama didn't have to go through that? And on top of that, mama us being born is our mama's biggest regret, which she says. Us being born is our mama's biggest regret. I'm in therapy because of stuff that happened to me as a child.
I agree. I understand.
So y'all, I mean, all of these what ifs and we should, like, all that is beautiful. But more times than not, it's my situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's mama and daddy signed over all their rights. I don't care about these children. Grandparents got a hold of us. They did the best they could, but emotionally, I was neglected.
Mm-hmm.
So even with me in this perfect scenario of being adopted, what about it?
Somebody jump in.
Kiki, and I guess I kind of bring my personal story now. I don't know. I don't know. My mom say that she wasn't on drugs when she had me, but I know she was when my two sisters. Well, actually three, because one of them died of crib death. As I had three sisters follow me, and each of those times my mother was on drugs. At that time, she never did openly come out like what you saying is saying that your mother and father didn't directly want you, didn't want us. However, we did eventually end up getting put on adoption. Well, not adoption, but went through the foster care system because never did end up. My sisters, they did get adopted, but um, me just stayed in the foster care as ward of the state. Um, but the question I guess would lead up in a story like yours, my for parents say that they regret. And it's just the thing. It ain't get in their mind that they really would they really have wanted to abort, or like what you, or I kind of had caught what you said your mom said um okay, then she thought that the mother light would turn on, so it kind of would have kind of she would having that thing that she kind of would want to end up being. Then sometime, well, or some other regret or whatever came on where now you got the attitude of now okay, I wish I would have bought it out. I mean, I just be wondering
Me,
with that type of mentality where it would kick in. It
I asked her with me and my sister. She said she found out too late to have an abortion. 'Cause, my mama was one to believe in abortion. She had abortions. It was too late for
okay,
me and my sister, and she said she planned on having my brother so I could have somebody to play with. You see how juvenile that is as a mother. I had a
right,
child because I had you, and I just figured you needed somebody. I needed you,
Hmm.
but
right.
I want to say I commend everybody on tonight for your maturity in this discussion, and your transparency, being free to share your stories, our stories. These are our truths, right? With everybody. May this be an example uh, to how we just prejudge, and we don't know really. I know your story, Kiana, because we talk. You know what I'm saying? But other people uh, just don't know how much people really have gone through and what people deal with. And so I just want to say I respect each of you, and I applaud you and appreciate your transparency on tonight. Um, I will say this, that again, going back to one of the initial things that I said, um, made this discussion on tonight really help us see just how broken our communities really are, how broken our homes are, because someone somewhere should have been available, even with Key's mom, to say, you know what, this behavior is is indicative of the lifestyle that you're living, and this ain't okay. Because you with these listen, children don't ask to be here, right? We bring them here through natural processes, but then we want the government to bail us out. I used to hear preachers say all the time, you can't shackle with the devil and expect God to pay your bills, right? we cannot continue to make poor choices and then think that there's always going to be a way out. And that's where we got to start being more accountable to one another too. Accountable, saying this, listen, if I see that you're going down this road, this rabbit hole, and I know it's going to affect not just you, it's going to affect other people, I need to be okay with saying, hey, sit down somewhere. You're not finna go do this tonight. Right? We got to start taking a hold of our people, man. Because they sitting back laughing at us. We got to start, Taylor. No, you're not going out there tonight. You're not going to be outside tonight. Sit down. You're going to stay in the house. Let's do something constructive. Let's plan for our future. Let's study on the next move to make, so that, guess what, we can do what we need to do. We ain't got to be worried about going to the people still worried about going to the club every weekend instead of traveling out the country. Like get yourself together. Don't buy outfits to go to the club. Buy outfits to go to London or Paris or go to Australia. Like, get out of here, man. Experience. Some people still haven't even been outside their own city.
Yeah.
Right? They think a trip is going up the road somewhere. Like, people that live here think a trip is going to New Orleans. That's across the street.
That's next door.
It's next door.
Right.
These kids in Watts that ain't never seen the ocean. It's 15 minutes away.
That part. Like we really got, man. And I'm telling you, Sonny, man, there's a calling on you. Lonnie, there's a calling on you. There's a calling on me. There's a calling on all of us young Black men to get our boys in line.
Indeed.
Because guess what? If we can stop them from out here sowing their royal oats, then a lot of the stuff will change. But we said this last week. Women create toxic men. We said this last week. No, absent fathers create vulnerable women. Right? And like Kiana just said, she need her mother. Her mother wasn't there. We don't even know what kind of trauma we even put on our kids when we make bad decisions as parents. And we even got kids that's having kids now who ain't even had nobody to raise them.
Right. And that's a generational cycle.
So that's the generational cycle. And so we say, okay, we got these babies having babies. Why not let them get abortions? Well, do you know that they may scar their womb and they may not even be able to have kids down the road? Oh, yeah. Like we gonna be we're gonna be held accountable for all of this, man. We gotta move different, bro. Like, we got to. This breaks my heart, man. Like, real talk. Because, man, I know people who've gotten divorces because they couldn't have children.
God. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that one right there, that's the emotional point right there for me right now.
You know, I just know, man, like this, like, our world is going to hell in a handbasket, man. Like, we not doing enough. We not spreading the gospel quick enough. And people are out here doing this other stuff because they ain't got no hope. There's no hope. It's just really just hearing everything tonight, and even how we started out. You know, we talking about we took a defensive posture toward all of this, but it's really not a defensive posture. Can I even offer this and suggest this? Maybe God is trying to get our attention. Why did this come up now? Let's think about it. Why now? Maybe he's saying, you know what? I paused the world with COVID. Now let me shake you up some more, because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. Something to think about, man. So should the government regulate it? I don't think the government should. I think that a woman should have the right to choose what she's gonna do about it. But I think that she also should be encouraged to make the right decisions before she have to. I think she should be be encouraged to make the right decisions with her body. And long before she needs to go to the clinic.
I say, If she is being forced, then she needs the proper support. As in, if she has said, I do not want this child, then automatically medical insurance needs to be provided for her. Like, and how if
That
all
part.
all support needs to be
Mental,
provided,
everything, psychological, all that,
all of it
all of
needs
it.
to be provided unto her automatically.
Yeah.
and
Because
and and the back up, and that's why I caught the part where you talking about we as the church
That's a good point, Taylor.
being,
Very good
yeah,
point.
and Taylor and I would definitely coincide with her, because then therefore the government can really, that really would back off if we as a church be there and embrace, when we have anyone that going through things like that, is just being there, and we really step in and rally um behind them. Don't get caught up in trying to be like, oh yeah, oh, you trying to have abortion. No, we really need to be more supporting each other, because what's going to happen is definitely with these abortions, yeah, the time that you really, yeah, you may not want to end up having this child at this moment, but then again, when it come down later on down the road, okay, the desire you mess around and be there, then okay, and not to say this way God think everything, because we don't think, we don't know how God would think on this, but times where we want to have, and this is where that point that you just made earlier kind of got emotional to me. Be like, at the time, oh yeah, I want to I want to have children. It's now, and now it's going to be challenging, because okay, bad mistake was made back then, or at the time where, oh, I shouldn't been so quick to want to have, or quick to do something to have, and now making this rash decision, and now I had to live with that. So that's kind of where, that kind of, had a thought in my mind, right now, where
I
that
think
is.
the
You know
scary
what's
part for me. So I have 12 brothers and sisters. So I'm one of 13. My youngest sister is adopted, and she's 4. And so the scariest part for me, right, when I think about my sisters who are close to my age, is not, none of us are married right now. One of us is engaged. None of us have been pregnant. And the scary thing is, for me at least, the idea of one of my sisters being pregnant and saying, not right now, or I don't want to have a baby, period, or just no, and them not having access to it safely. Abortions can be safe. It's a surgery, so there are risks, but abortions can be safe. It's when they're done incorrectly that women later can't have children or have difficulty having children. And so this idea that the choice of an abortion being taken away and it not being supported by the world, by the state, by the church, um, it kind of opens us up for to be more vulnerable. And like, I listen to this podcast, and this guy refers to God as a gentleman, because God doesn't even force us to choose God. He gives us the choice to choose him. Right?
absolutely.
Every time we pray, every time we think of God, it's a cognizant choice of ours to choose him. And I think that is hard for a lot of young people our age and younger, to reconcile that God is also a choice, but the things that we do with our body and the way we interact with the world is also a choice. And
Absolutely.
so the idea of taking choices away from people, it doesn't work with me. It doesn't work for me, especially when I had to choose God for my own salvation. I had to choose God as the person that I pray to and believe in. So why can't I choose for my body? I think that the idea that God doesn't trust us with choices is false. He
it is.
100% does.
He gave us free will.
He gave us free will. And also this idea that women have to choose correctly, as if getting the abortion is automatically incorrect. What if putting another child, whether it be black, white, brown,
In this
into
world.
foster care, into an adoption situation,
Right.
what if that's the wrong choice? What if dying, what if giving birth and dying and leaving this child out in the world, rather it be with their father or rather it be just alone? What if that is the wrong choice? And so I think that the idea that people don't trust us to make the decision, and when I say us, I mean women, I think that the idea of taking abortion away, right, not being pro choice, is saying that you don't trust women to make decisions for themselves.
Right.
And I feel like that opens us up to a whole nother issue, right? Are y'all going to say that we don't have the choice, that we don't make right decisions enough to decide what we do with our careers? Can we not choose our majors in college? Can we not choose to go to school anymore? Like, can we not choose how we raise our children? Can we not choose our own denomination? Are we allowed to choose God, or is the government going to choose God for us? I feel like it opens up this whole idea that because men have no regulations on this, no regulation like this, that it comes back to, so we put regulations on women in this way. How are we, does it just stop here, or does it go other places? And I don't think a God that gave us free will would support that.
I would say that I agree with the majority of everything that you said. The part that I would defer is talking about the dying part. It's already appointed unto man wants to die. um, if that be God's will. People used to ask me all the time, why would you be a cop? Why would you be in the military? You have to fight for this country. What if you get killed? Well, if that's my time, that's my time. If that's my appointed day, it don't matter where I'm at or what I'm doing. That's my day to exit, right? So I think that's a premature um, example of reasons to have abortions. I think that, like I said, my sister, she was high risk, and that she had no complications at all. That's a blessing from God, right? And I know there are other stories like that. There are some that women have been perfectly healthy, nothing wrong with them physically, and got on that operate on that labor table, or in that labor room, and not here no more, right?
What
So
happened to my mom?
wow.
Like, thankfully she's still here, but
Right.
her pregnancy with my brother she said it was better than me. It
Wow.
was smooth the entire time. But by the time it came for her to push, flatline. And we
Wow.
lost my brother.
Wow.
It
Dang.
wasn't. And then you have negligent doctors. Like, there are
True.
too many
True. True.
factors. There
True.
are too many
So
factors
much.
in
So
this.
much going on.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that's
you
why I
have
say,
doctors who firmly believe that Black women don't feel pain
yeah, false.
at all.
Well,
I
yeah.
would
Hearts,
you
And
hearts
I
said
was about to say, well, if y'all went to Dr. Kevorkian, I was about to say, y'all remember, yeah,
I
wasn't
went to
Carlos.
the
I was about to say, y'all
ER
Kevorkian.
last Christmas, 2 Christmases ago, to the ER. An ambulance came and got me, and they gave me Advil and sent me home.
Mm.
Like it, and it's, I
And
don't
that
know. I
helps.
think that when
That's
we
poor
look at
healthcare.
birth mortality rates, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary.
No, it ain't got nothing to
that's
do with healthcare because Queen Serena almost checked out of here.
that's
And
true.
maybe think she was in
That's
pain.
true. That's true.
Right.
That's true. And that's just what, like I said, we just can't, we don't know. That shouldn't be on an argument on the table whether or not abortion should be a decision or not. I think that I stand firm with you and say that the government should not regulate it. The government should not choose for any person, not just a woman, not just a man, but any person. We out here, we had people that fought for equality and for rights for certain races, right? Women have had to fight for rights to be able to vote, and all of these different things, as our country and our culture has experienced so much suffrage and pain and injustice. I believe that it should be the woman's right to choose. But I also stand firm on, when we do choose, what is the right thing to do. And I think that can be subjective, based on your experience, based on your belief in God. And that's another thing. We're trying to, the government is trying to regulate something that they believe God is against, on people who don't believe in God. That doesn't even make sense. Like, you're going to force a godly perspective on people that don't believe in God, that don't follow God, right? That's ludicrous. Um, But then here's the last thing I want to say on that, and then I'm gonna let you guys kind of wrap this up. Um, I agree with what Taylor said, and that was a very interesting point that she made. If a woman decides, okay, I don't want to have this child, right, and she's now encouraged to keep the child, there needs to be certain support available to her, healthcare, free healthcare, to be able to go through this process, to know, okay, I can't afford to bring this child into the world. And that would be irresponsible for me to bring this child into this world because the decision was already made. I already laid down, already got pregnant. Now what? Right? Here's where the church comes in at. I think we got to start standing up and saying, sin is sin, acknowledging that it's sin, and say, okay, where do we go from here? Let's move on. Because we like to look down on women who've gotten abortions that sit in our congregations and not providing them with a class or a safe place to be able to talk about their experience. I don't believe we've ever had a class talking about abortion. I don't think we've ever allowed women to talk about abortions. And I'm gonna tell y'all this, and this is what I know. There are women sitting in our congregations every Sunday across this country that have had plenty of abortions, but they can't even speak out about the pain that they still live with and the guilt that they still live with because they don't feel like the church is a safe place to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm. True.
That's our fault. Now that's our fault. And that's a sin all by itself. Right? Acknowledge the fact, okay, if it's sin towards God, God forgives us of our sins when we repent. We shouldn't continue to punish her because she made that choice. Now let's love her and move on. Let's try to keep her from making that decision again, having to make that decision again, showing her a better way, showing again our young brothers a better way.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows you how far we are really from where we need to be, man. Yeah. And we just been going to church, having a praise party on Sunday mornings, but ain't nobody life getting no better. And that's why people leaving the church, because there ain't no healing there no more. Mm-hmm. People leaving the church because there ain't no power there no more. Mm-hmm. People leaving the church because there's no safety there no more.
Safety.
Come on, man, wake up.
Safety.
Agreed.
I would say to add to that, and I think it's a finite line. It's a finite line. It's a sliding scale, safety and freedom. It's a sliding scale. Mm-hmm. And so I think that we as a governing body of the body of Christ need to understand what for the people, by the people mean. I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about us as a body of Christ.
Yeah.
Understanding how to still operate and move within the freedom that God gives us and keep each other safe, keep each other accountable, keep each other in arm's reach, if you will. Because there's a lot of people, to everybody's point, that suffer in silence with situations quite like this. We're not just talking about birth or the ability or the choice to have the birth, but we're also talking about death. It's a coin that has two heads. And I know that a lot of us recently have had to deal with it in multiple facets. If it be family, if it be friends, if it be public figures, right? And there's a toll and there's a price to be paid. I always choose life because if I didn't, I'd be dead today. Mm-hmm. But I'm always going to be behind somebody's choice to let them know that they can make a better choice the next day. Mm. That's the decision. That should be the decision of all people, of all our people, for sure. Because we got, right? Mm. I'm not talking about the sisterhood. I'm not talking about the manosphere. I'm talking about us. We got, right? Mm. So why are we always talking in qualms of division?
Mercy. Can I add to that, Sonny?
Yeah.
Man, let brothers, y'all come here. Y'all listen, man. Stop shaming our women because they have all these kids before they met you. That's another thing we got to stop doing. Like, just thinking about Kevin Samuels, man, how he just really shamed like these single black mothers, man. Like that puts that just adds another spear to the whole narrative, man, because that not only do our women not feel safe or in the church, but they don't even feel safe with us.
Well, that was disgraceful altogether because you talking about when you talk about a fellow black woman like he had a black mother.
But bro,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
might
just
say,
him though. He just had a platform.
and I ain't just and no, and I'm not just saying him. It's a
There's a
lot
lot
of
of guys out there
and
that's just like that.
like I didn't know him, but I know it was so. And like I was saying, and going back to like I say, me graduating and waiting from Harlan, I said, and I'm gonna say why I had a big disrespect for a lot of brothers there at the Church of Christ Sponsor School. Like y'all get up here and you all are doing more stuff in bad mouthing our women. You bad mouthing your mothers, your sisters. If your mothers and your sisters here and the way you mouthing these other women, I just couldn't see how you could be able to do that.
Let
It
me
was
ask,
for
let
me. It
me
was
ask you a question. Let me ask you a very important question. What did you say to them? What
Oh,
was
what
your
I was hella pissed. Like I told him, no, you won't, not in my presence. Don't ever sit up here and say nothing negative about none of these black females here. If these are our mothers, our sisters, our queens, I like if you want me to get hellified. Oh, start talking about one of our sisters. Oh no, no, it would not be so. I go, yeah. I said we go to hell there and there for one because I'm like, and that's why I say I love. I don't care how crazy or whatever whatever. I like I can we deal with our people. We deal with my sisters. I love my like I told my already. My mother, my sisters, even y'all ladies on here, love y'all. Y'all I don't care how the world may see y'all are queens. You deserve to be respected as such, and you will continue to get that. And that's what real kings, because you all birth kings such as myself. I respect myself. When I love y'all, I'm showing respect for myself. I value myself when I'm valuing our women.
yeah? And that's
So
that's 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 the point that I was trying to drive home. What Sonny was saying, we all we got, man,
mhm.
brothers. We got to start. We got to start covering. We got to start covering. Um, but you don't really learn those principles anymore in the home, right?
But why
Um,
aren't we even learning them in the church either?
that's the part. That's the point. Like we're
Like,
not
okay,
learning.
not everybody's going to have a good home. We
Correct.
know that there are too many broken homes. Then at least we need to stop being so scared of having these real transparent conversations in the church.
Right.
We have to. Like,
But
because
we
they're
got to
not
get out. We
happening.
got to get
Agree,
out.
agree. Take,
We got to get out of the building because a lot of people that need to
And
have
go
these
into the community.
but
that we need
see,
to have
100%.
these
I am
conversations with ain't
full
coming in that
advocate.
building. That's the point. So we're not affecting
I
change.
agree.
but we get,
Absolutely.
but that's a
Go
part
all
of
into the
serving the real
community.
Jesus.
That's why we
Absolutely.
are
Right.
here now.
Yeah.
Right,
Fact.
and we
Fact.
serve a real Jesus, and it got to be radical because we look at what our real Jesus did. He wasn't sitting up there and they're just sitting around no sanctuary and talking to people around no tabernacle.
Absolutely. Out in the community. All right, let's
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
yeah,
Whose car are we taking?
and hit with them real conversations. Like, we having these real conversations. So it's definitely a growth and a challenge for me, and I'm glad that right now my mind over these. And like I said, being on this growth group is definitely having encouraged me to like now. Oh yeah, I'm ready to hit it real every time. Like I told y'all, when I'm at school when I teach. Oh, I'm hitting real conversations because of the fact that like y'all ain't fool. No, we got to come on. Yeah, we got to go here because people dying for real out here.
I think that's also why I became a social worker, because it was the conversations that other people were too scared to have with me. I'm
Yeah,
having with my babies. I'm having with my
yeah,
students. I'm
Mhm.
having with my clients because, and even my friends, I will tell you, I'm not the friend to just like sugarcoat it for you. I'm gonna keep it real 100 with you.
Yeah.
I had to tell one of my, she's my new client. She's 13, had sex with a 17-year-old. He's now in jail for child molestation and
That-
rape
yeah.
yeah.
because she's 13.
Yeah.
She was like, but I thought it was okay. He's 17. He's now a predator.
No, Exactly.
He's
Nope.
a predator. And I had to tell her straight up, look, now you got that sex bite. Now you know what it feels like. You're gonna want it all the time, baby girl. I get it. But unfortunately, until you reach 17, on your 17th birthday, ask for condoms. But you cannot have sex. And I have to be that frank and that blatant with them, or they're not gonna get it. Stop pussyfooting around with these conversations. I'm sorry.
Right. And
Stop.
all 17-year-old boys I said better talk to you better stay your behind the way and wait. Don't be
In
trying
your
to talk about
lane.
she look
Y'all
like
trying to
18.
go for
You
these
better
young
stop.
girls.
Right.
These young girls, they're not mentally fully developed. They're not bodily fully developed. But you're like, oh, she's 13. She's easy to go ahead. And this also counts for little boys too, because there are too many young men who are out here, and their fathers are like, "Yo, good job, champ." No, I had to tell one of my students, "Yo, do you realize that you were assaulted when you were 12, when you were 8? Do you realize that you're a victim? That what happened, and you might have thought it was okay. You were 8, baby. That wasn't okay." And he was like, "Well, if I have kids, hey, but if he has a son, it's okay. But if he has a daughter, it's a whole nother thing." No, both of them.
Correct.
That gender inequality gap needs to be fixed.
Needs to be addressed, right?
It needs to be addressed. Both are the problem. Both, we already discussed it. Both need to be held accountable.
So different.
Both need to have accountability. Absolutely.
Facts.
If you have these standards on women, you have the same standards on men.
Facts.
In their own facet or whatever.
Facts.
It can't just be one-sided, because now you have all these laws and stipulations on what I can do with my body, but you have yet not set one standard for
Right.
a man who has stepped out of himself and now has assaulted me or whatever, but I'm accountable. I'm accountable, not him. You don't send him to jail. You don't capture him. You don't give a crap about him. But I'm the one who has to now hold a child that, no, I don't want. I don't want them.
It's a constant reminder.
A constant reminder of my attack. A constant reminder that somebody disrespected me and had no respect or regard for my self-esteem, for me. But I'm the one who has, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not fair. Absolutely not. So yes, as a church, we need to be out in the community.
Period.
We need to start having real conversations, real transparent conversations with our kids, with the other people. Stop judging everybody, because like you said, you were the same one. You had the same experience. So why, if you know that you had the same experience as I am, and you're saying, damn, should have done better.
Yeah.
Instead of, no, hey, look, here's the holes in my hands. Here are the holes in my hands. I've been burned. Now let me show you so that you don't have to go through that anymore. Or even if you did, I get it. You're not alone in this. Stop ostracizing these women for being single mothers, for having all these kids with different. That's besides the point. Show them, give them support.
Where do we go from here? Yeah. Where do you go from here?
Start giving resources. Start supplying and providing mental health check-ins. Start reaching out more. Hey, sis, you good? Hey, I got a couple extra bucks. You hungry? You need diapers? Anything.
And that's part of the reason why we started doing the feedings in the community, because I know in that community that we're in, there are a lot of single parents, right? And, we had even one mother came up one time and she said, look, I got 5 kids and I heard y'all was giving out plates and y'all don't know how much y'all been a blessing, because I have to feed them every night. Every night, and just that little break meant the world to her, And that's where we got to begin to make impacts in people's lives, man. Just the smallest seed, we never know how far it can take us. Go ahead and give y'all closing remarks. We gotta shut it down. It's time is far spent because we jumped on late. So Excuse me, Taylor. You go ahead and launch off. Give your final remarks. Then I know Sonny wanted to jump in, so we'll let Sonny go next, and then or you can go last. It doesn't matter. Um, then we'll ask Kiki to jump in. Shy, you're next, and we'll leave either Lonnie or Sonny to go last. All right, and we'll get out of here. Go ahead, Tay.
We have to give support. We have to be transparent. We have to, I don't know, mind the business that pays us.
Ooh, that part.
Like, and it sounds hypocritical in a way because I'm telling you to mind your business, but at the same time support me. But it's not.
It's
right?
a finite line.
It yes, but it's also, look, if what I do with myself is my business. However, if I'm sitting here and I'm like, look, I need help, that's when
you jump in.
When the support comes in.
And
or
help in that moment.
And in that moment. Or if you see like, hey, you may not have asked for help, but I see that you're struggling. Let me, try or ask, hey, how can I help you? How can I help you? If I'm asking for it or, offering your services, cool. But I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
All right. Thank you. Who's next? Lonnie or Sonny? Which one you guys?
Whichever, it doesn't matter.
I guess I go hell because I guess just a ditto behind Taylor and I guess just to say as the church to be really caring, to be a real caring is not to try to be throwing our people on the bus because again we all had a back then. Some of our back thens are still going on right now.
Ooh, that's a word right there, boy.
So therefore, when we end up trying to be on somebody who going through they right now, and we know we had that back then. That back then mentality, that is not what Jesus called us for. Jesus calls for us to have our back thens to try to go ahead and try to help. Because again, the restoration, you ain't the only ones that's getting saved. We should be able to see all. We are looking for that great commission for all to be saved and to go ahead and stay in that save route. So, in order for us to be able to do that, we have to end up being being that radical as Jesus did. We got to be ready to go out into the world and go here and be ready to teach and teach. How we gonna teach unless we're up here sharing with our lives and being able to help people who are going through this stuff. This stuff is real. This stuff, abortions, everything that's going on. I'm not just gonna say just merely abortion, but it's all kinds of different stuff that's happening in our world today. And we trying to sleep on it in the church and trying to sweep on the rug and trying not to have those difficult conversations. That is just again just continuing to let Satan try to flourish in the church. But we know he's not gonna have no victory. But we up there continue to giving him too much leverage, and therefore we as Christians we gonna have to let go of that. So just going here on and just being ready to really let God use us in our back then and then be more supportive and being of a real caring for people that really want to help them. So, and I pray and pray. I know I'm encouraged to want to do more and have better and be better at trying to be for real, trying to encourage people to stay in Christ as God has delivered me from much, and hopefully, I'm praying that each person, especially those of us who are in the church who are hearing this message, pray that we are being encouraged to be more real, be a better realist than what we have been as being out of politics, but being a real realist and being real with caring, loving people, and being there to support people and keep people out of hellfire and Satan's dominion.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Gonna bring Kiki in. Give us your final word.
If you are pro-life, you don't believe in abortions, then simply don't get one. If you don't believe in abortion, just don't get one. I think Whoopi Goldberg said that. I'm sympathetic to the fathers that find themselves in situations that, oh, I want a baby or whatever. I'm sympathetic to fathers in some regards, but my sympathy for the father goes out the window when it goes out the window because I can't sympathize with you so much that I'm putting myself in a position that I don't want to be in, because it's me first. I sympathize with the men out there that find themselves in positions like that, but I still feel like it's up to the woman to choose whatever situation they're in, whether it's dire situations or they just woke up one day and I don't feel like it. It's women's choice. That's it.
Well said. Well said. Cheyenne, jump in. Final
Okay.
word. Hey.
I wish that we had a government that cared more about processing rape kits than they do putting regulations on women's body. I wish that we had a government that cared more about healthy sex education and the Black women's birth mortality rate um, and our children in foster care and the conditions of foster care and adoptions and how hard it is for Black families and families of color to adopt children. I wish that we had a government who cared more about its people than what its people did, but we don't. And I think that when we explore the ideas of overturning laws that give rights, that's when we see that the most. And so for me, it's really disheartening, right? Especially to come out of a pandemic. Like, we were all in a pandemic, the government included.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a little extra insult to the injury when we come out of a pandemic and we have to face this, we have to deal with this. Yeah, so that's hard for me. But as far as the church goes, I think for me, it always comes back to if God saw fit to give us choices and have the hope that we will always return to Him. I think that's what the church needs to focus on, as opposed to the choices that we make outside of the church, if that makes sense. And like Taylor and you said, like, I do think that and Lonnie said, I think that it all needs to come back to support. When we look around, and even if I feel like I can raise this baby, but I am by myself, and I don't have no village, but I don't know, I'm teetering. I think that is the hardest position for a woman to be in, to know that the abortion is an option, but I don't know if I want an abortion or if I want a baby. I think that those positions where you are teetering because of what you lack, I think that is where the church should really focus, as opposed to judgment, or as opposed to the damnation part that they believe come with abortion. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love what you said about she had a government that would focus on the people and not what people did. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you. My guy, my hitter, my round.
Brother, abort the mission.
That's it.
Abort the mission. Well, relationship is a pillar of life. And the proper relationship poisons you not to be postured in a poisonous situation, right? It's the best protection. The best protection. So with that being said, I can't look to anyone else, no organization, no government, to have my best interest in mind. But I can look to my brother. I should be able to look to my sister. Building this community is the most important thing in life right now. I said building a community, because without one, we will. Without the right relationships, we will continue to make ill-advised situations. We will continue to be in ill-fated circumstances. We will stay and be succumbed to the powers that be, that govern us, that own us. We can't get our own freedom until we become free ourselves and then commune with other free folk.
Mm.
If I'm by myself, yeah, if I'm by myself, I have no lifeline and I can give no life. I can't live by myself. I can't make it by myself. I can't
Oh,
make it under the thumb of something else, someone else. Yeah, I would love to be in something that's better governing, but I'm always subject to a broken system. Why? Because nothing has been placed in the aspect and unction of what I need. I've only been given what was there. Now I have to make what is needed for me and mine. And mine is the people of God. Mine is the children and the sisters and the brothers who value life, who value understanding, who value interest in loving and leaving a legacy. And yes, we will make mistakes on that way. Yes, we will fall short, but that's what the community is for. Because the organizations and the government, you're just the number, replaceable. But to my community, I'm a valued member. And as we as a church, I'm talking about us individuals, if we as a church go and make these right relationships, we won't ever have to worry about abortion. And I'm not talking about abortion of a child. I'm talking about abortion of life, abortion of living, abortion of actually existing as what God has created us to be.
my God. Oh,
Because right now we just exist. We're not living.
sir. Did I just hear you say that a lot of us have been aborted already,
Absolutely.
but yet we're still here? Um, it's time for us to make each other count so that we can count on each other. Um, we must get to a place to where um, we 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 have an affinity for life. And I will say that it's okay. Many have accepted the fact that abortion is okay. That it's a thing that's not that bad, because we've made it okay for our young men to gun down our own young men in the streets. We've taken the value off of life itself. Like, um, it doesn't matter where it's coming from, how old the person is. Um, what Sonny just said, man, is profound, because we really got to get back to a place of being pro life. Um, but that should be nobody's choice but the person who's making it, right? The person who's making that decision, because the young man that goes out there and puts a gun in his hand and takes somebody else's life, he's not pro life. Yet somebody made a decision to give him life. That's why he's no longer a productive citizen in life, and he's probably doing life because we didn't place the value on life, right? And we got to start saving people's lives out here, no matter who, no matter if they have a voice, they don't have a voice. And that goes for the mother who's made a decision to terminate an unborn child or fetus or whatever the case may be. Give her her life back. Show her the hope and the love of Christ, so that we never have to continue to repeat this cycle. If we can just begin to break this generational curse, then the kingdom will be better for it. Our community will be better for it, and our children will be better for it. Uh, Tonight was interesting as always. We appreciate you joining us tonight for New Heights Growth Group Unplugged, powered by the New Heights Church, Biloxi, Mississippi, and sponsored by the New Heights Media Group. We appreciate your attendance on tonight, your attention on tonight. We hope, trust, and pray that you were blessed by the word on tonight, by the discussion on tonight. We know that you've been blessed by the best because you've been blessed by God, because you are a child of God. And so I want you to know I love you. New Heights loves you. The council loves you. But most of all, God loves you. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing that you can do about it. We hope, trust, and pray that you have a good rest of the week, that your week is off to a great start. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same place, same grace, in the same space. This has been New Heights Growth Group Unplugged. Peace. We out.